Let's see, 7:48 the time now. If you are filling up the car today with petrol or diesel and you're using a supermarket, you may well spot the difference in the prices. Steph?
Yes, this is something that a lot of people talk to me when I'm out and about, what bothers them in terms of bills and things, and paying for fuel is definitely one of them. So a bit of good news on that front. Morning, everyone. You're having a look at the figures. A year ago, a litre of petrol cost around £1.08 on average. Diesel was at £1.09. Now, those prices have been creeping up over the last 12 months, up to £1.18 for petrol and £1.20 for diesel. Well, now they're coming down again. There's a bit of a supermarket price war going on, with Morrisons, Sainsbury's and Tesco cutting petrol by a penny a litre and diesel by 2p. So what's going on? Well, with me is James Spencer, who's Managing Director of Fuel Traders, Portland Fuel. Good morning to you, James.
Good morning.
What's happening then? Why are they bringing down the prices a little bit?
Well, I think there is an element of supermarkets always keen to get off the blocks first and kind of get in first with the price reduction. But yeah, so oil prices have been kind of ticking down. They're kind of, about a month ago, they're $57 a barrel. They're now about the $50 a barrel mark. So that is filtering through now into the forecourts.
And why is the price of oil been coming down a bit?
Well, what has actually happened is what was predicted is, as the price kind of crept up on the back of the OPEC cuts, which were agreed back in November.
OPEC being the oil-producing nations who all get together to decide.
So in November they agreed that they would cut production. That sent prices going upwards. Obviously, a bit of uncertainty. Certainly the US attack on the Syrian airbase pushed prices up a bit further. But really what's happened is the shale oil producers have come back into the market. As the price has gone up to the high $50 a barrel, the shale oilers have come back in. There's been a balance, and so now the price is coming back down.
And the currency markets make a bit of a difference on this as well.
Currency markets make a huge difference, but I think probably from a pence per litre perspective, that has had when post-Brexit the pound went down in value, that pushed prices up by about 4p a litre, but they have the exchange rate is sat at around the 1.25 level against the dollar for around 6 months now, so that isn't having a big impact at the moment.
So what's going to happen next, you think? I know that's the question where you'd be a very rich man if you knew exactly, but in terms of what the forecasts are for...
Yeah, well, I think in the short term, I think there will be a softening of prices on the forecourt. I think normally what happens is the supermarkets lead, and then the rest of the retail industry, the independent forecourts, tend to follow. They have a longer supply chain, of course, so it takes longer for their fuel. They may have fuel that was bought 2 weeks ago still in their tank to be sold, so they tend to be a bit slower. But all eyes on the 25th of May. That is the next OPEC meeting. And to be honest, their strategy of kind of strangling production, pushing prices up, it looks as if it's fizzled out. And so are they going to cut even more? Argument there isn't really anybody who can other than Saudi Arabia. They probably won't want to act alone. They'll certainly maintain the production cuts, but if they decided to do further production cuts, that could push prices back up.
Just one other thing, whenever I talk about petrol fuel prices, people go mad and go, well, it's much cheaper here or it's much more expensive. Why are there such big regional variations?
Well, I think that's more market forces. I think in more competitive areas, then particularly the supermarkets have to be very competitive where they're pricing. I mean, if you just take the difference, if you like, in the supply chain cost of getting fuel to, let's say, the northeast to Wales, for example, two different sides of the country, is only about 1p a litre. So from a supply perspective, there isn't a great difference. So where there are much bigger differences, it's typically market forces.
James, as ever, thank you very much. I'm sure I'll get lots of messages from you on where you've seen the cheapest or the most expensive. It's always interesting to see. That's it for me for now.
That's our job for today. Thanks, Steph.